For the third year and counting, Richard Skipper has been celebrating the artists you love.
And what are some of the things that you've really run out of time? And we've got to talk about your latest. I want to go back a little bit, first of all, and celebrate a true legend.
Richard Skipper is all about celebrating life, art, and his guest body of work.
And did you pursue performing opportunities while you were in high school?
Please join us while he showcases these diverse and talented individuals. Here's Richard Skipper.
Happy Tuesday, everyone, and welcome to the latest edition of Richard Skipper Celebrates. Who or what are you celebrating today? There's a lot to celebrate. The word for today is patience. Mercury is in retrograde, and it will be in retrograde, by the way, until June 3rd. So fasten your seatbelts and embrace it. Now, it's not something to get nervous about. A lot of people get nervous when Mercury goes into retrograde, but it's about taking a pause, taking a deep breath, and just embracing everything that's around you. And tonight, it's all about patience. That's the word today. And I want to celebrate a few people that are watching the show tonight. And I'm going to start with my assistant, and that is Rose Apuzzo. With Rose, everything's always coming up roses. And Rose, of course, is a huge, huge, huge Barbra Streisand fan. I can't think of Barbra Streisand without thinking of Rose Apuzzo and vice versa. So a few weeks ago, Barbra Streisand celebrated a very significant birthday, and we put together a birthday celebration celebrating Barbra Streisand. And Rose told me about this amazing talent, and she said, you have to have Ava Nicole Francis on your show. And she told me about her, and she reached out, and we got her on the show. And of course, the moment that she opened her voice and her voice came out her mouth, I fell in love with her. See, I get tongue-tied talking about her. I fell in love with her. And then a few nights later, Rose was lucky enough to go to Feinstein's 54 Below and see her. How lucky was Rose to be there? How lucky can one get? Well, the review came out today in Broadway World, and I'm telling you, it was a rave. And Stephen Mosier of Broadway World, he wrote Gone with the Wind Part 2, all about Ava. Well, tonight, there are three amazing women that are standing in the wings. Box number 1, box number 2, and box number 3. And I am going to let Rose pick our winner, and she's going to decide who is going to come on first. So Rose, as soon as you send me a message and let me know who will be coming on, all you need to do is say 1, 2, or 3, and I will bring on our first contestant. And then we will get to know her a little bit better. And these three women individually have amazing careers, but when they come together, they celebrate each other in a way that only can be defined as alchemy. Their voices blend so well together. They've created a show called Mutual Admiration. And of course, it goes back to the Mutual Admiration Society. And again, as I said before, the word is patience. So I'm waiting for Rose to get that word to me. Rose, get it? I'm waiting for it. So there's so many messages coming in right now. I'm not even seeing it. So I'm going to pull myself. So Charlo, get on camera. I know because I'm going to pull on Charlo first. Rose and I are on the same wavelength because she picked number 3. I'm waiting for Charlo to get in place, and I'm going to pull her on first. And here she is, everyone, Charlo Crossley. Hello, Charlo. Welcome to the show. Again, as I said, patience is the word. You figured it out. You figured out how to get on tonight. How are you doing?
Well, I'm good. I'm grateful. I'm basking in the absolute, I'll use the word wonder of the great review that we received today. It's just an incredible blessing. You know, it's like the saints and the angels were all screaming at God and saying, come on, you got to give them credit today. I'll take it.
Well, Charlotte, you've had this amazing career yourself.
Ava,
But
thank you.
I want to know, how did you and Ava meet?
Ava and I met, oh my God, I want to say 5 years ago, 4.5, 5 years ago, at Our Name is Barbara experience for Project Angel Food here in California that has been produced and directed and curated by the great Clifford Bell of
Who
Cabaret.
we love Clifford Bell.
Absolutely. And she got up and sang 3 songs and knocked it out the park. I said, who is this juggernaut of talent? And just a little girl, like a teen girl. Reminded me of a lot of the young girls I work with in Hairspray. And I thought, oh, she'd be a great Tracy Turnblad. And so she sang, and then I got up and I sang Isn't It Better from Funny Lady. The great thing about the Our Name is Barbara events is that you get up and you sing songs that Barbara has sung. And so it was great. Mm-hmm. So I sang Isn't It Better from Funny Lady, and was talking to her from the stage. And her dad wanted me to work with her. And it took us 1 year to get together. But I had a dream. And in the dream, God said to me, I want you to work with this young girl and her family. And then I saw her the next day, a few days later at another Our Name is Barbara event. So that was 1 year later. And I couldn't wait to tell her, and we got started. And we had not sung a note together until we were with Michael Collum, and we started singing. He said, well, can you sing this song? And we launched into Happy Days, Get Happy. It was all over but the shout.
And that's how it happens. I want to show the clip that was sent to me that we showed this. Those who were lucky enough to see the Barbra Streisand celebration that we did have already seen this. Ava already knows, but I'm going to show it again because it is worth repeating. And here it is. This just an amazing talent. And just look at this. I'm just in love with her. Here she is.
Me too.
Hi, Barbara. I heard it's your special day, and I just wanted to wish you a very happy birthday on behalf of my family and I, and all of your fans. Thus, loving you as we do, never will we ever be untrue, having love with all the trimmings. Happy birthday to you.
Now, I want to say these costumes are, first of all, I'm so jealous of the fact that she has 2 dads. Because, the fact that these 2 dads and these costumes and everything, I mean, since she was a small child, they've been creating these amazing costumes. She's been surrounded by the wonderfulness of Barbra Streisand her entire life. When you're surrounded by greatness, you're going to grow up in greatness.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And when you've got they were playing show tunes for her when they brought her home from the hospital as a petite enfant. She grew up with all of it. And so she knows everything. She is such an incredible Broadway theater. I don't want to say geek, but she's like an archivist. I mean, she knows all these things. And so it's wonderful. I learned so much from her. But I have to say that it's wonderful when you can be immersed in the thing and then have such a passion for it. And when we were in New York, I mean, it was we are a testament to believing it, dreaming it, believing it, speaking it, praying over it, releasing it, and then it happening. So what we were experiencing the other night was surreal to me. I mean, I was like, We had so many songs to learn and so much dialogue to remember. I thought my career was spiraling down the tubes, but we pulled it together. I know I did, but she was just fantastic. And, you know, when you learn all this stuff and you start putting it together, then you get in front of an audience that's pulling on you, you discover so many things about what you're talking about and singing about. You know, you're just in the moment. I know for me, I was totally thrust into the moment. The passion of it, the sheer wonder of it is amazing. I'm grateful.
Well, you know, that's what it's all about. I've said that my philosophy is that if every person on this planet would begin every day with a show tune, there would be no crime or violence on this planet.
That's right. There's a line in the show that says, "There's nothing that a good old-fashioned show tune can't fix."
And I believe that totally.
Me too.
So, Charlo, I'm going to let you bring on our next guest, and you get to pick either box number 1 or box number 2.
Well, I'm going to just, whoever's number 2, whoever's 1, I'm going to call out Ula Hedwig. And whatever number she is, I want to just say, this is someone who is so incredibly brilliant. And you know, but no longer unsung. This woman is a juggernaut. I'll tell you something. We have had such great times in the studio and on stage, but when you're in the studio and you're cranking that stuff out and you're matching up these vocals, baby, there's nobody better. She is one of the best in the business.
Thank you. Cheers.
The funniest people.
Well, I have to say this, Ulla, first of all, is there anybody in this business who hasn't, you know, when a lot of people will say, I worked with, I want to say, is there anyone in this business who hasn't worked with you?
Oh, okay.
Who worked on you?
Worked on me. That's more the question.
Oh my goodness, that's great.
No, it's amazing that, you know, as you're singing for all these people. Of course, I'm a background singer. I'm more of the rock and roll ilk than of the show tune. Although I've straddled both worlds. I've done Broadway and shows, but my heart has always been in rock and pop. And Dionne Warwick was my biggest vocal influence. Cilla Black, Sandy Shaw, all those British divas. So that's my ilk. And over the years, you don't realize. I mean, now that I look back, there's a long list of people. The list goes on, and it shocks me. It shocks me because you don't see it in context. You know, as you're doing it, you know, it's a gig. That's a gig. That's a gig. That's a gig. But boy, when it comes back to you as somebody of my age, and you reflect, it's a lot of stuff. I've sung with a lot of people.
Going through your list of the soundtracks, the concerts that you are a part of, I'm going to use an example, if you don't mind my going here. And this is, sure. I'm going to drop a name that many people have heard me drop many, many times on this show. I was very fortunate to consider, Carol Channing was a very close friend of mine. Mm-hmm. And when I went into Carol's home, it was like walking into a museum of the 20th century, because Carol had her photograph with every major politician, every major news maker, kings, queens, sports figures, everyone, and her walls were covered with these icons. And I feel the same way about you, because I look at the music that you have created, and it's a soundtrack of the 20th and the 21st century. And I want to say thank you for creating this great music and giving us this incredible body of worth.
Well, body of worth. I love that. Yes. But, you know, I was just 20 feet from Stardom with, you know, the list of people. And I was very happy back there. I tried doing the solo thing at one time. Didn't work. I'm just comfortable with a trio. That's why I love the Harlettes so much. It's comfortable for me to be, in a trio or 20 feet from Stardom.
Now, there have been many Harlettes over the years, and there are a few. And one of the other Harlettes, and I'm going to give, for everyone who's here right now, one of the Harlettes is going to be on my show on Thursday. She's been another one of the Harlettes. She's been on my show before, and name a few of the other Harlettes, and I will and when you
Linda Hart.
Okay, keep going.
Katie Segal.
Keep going.
Who?
Siobhan O'Carroll.
Siobhan O'Carroll.
Melanie Taylor.
Melissa Manchester.
Melissa Manchester. Is going to be on the show on Thursday afternoon.
She was the original.
Yes.
I placed her.
That's right.
So everybody, Melissa Manchester is going to be on the show Thursday. So tune in. She's remastered one of her CDs and she's got some new tracks on it. So please tune in.
Oh, she's wonderful.
So I want to ask there's so many legendary stories about the Harlettes. Do you have a favorite memory of the Harlettes?
There are legendary stories. You tell me one.
You cannot repeat.
From your own perspective, do you have a favorite memory?
Oh, maybe the stuff that was off stage, like the time we went bowling with Bette. We would be, and the time that we got stranded in a snowstorm in that hotel, and we had to cancel the show, and all of us took over the lounge act that was in the bar, including Bette. And we took over the band, and the drunks in the bar had no idea who they were listening to. And Bette got up there with her ski cap and sweater and we basically did our show in the lounge of somewhere. It was Cleveland or somewhere. I forget.
It was Akron, Ohio.
Akron.
And we took over the lounge.
That's right.
And drank ourselves into a coma and got
into a stupor.
We had so much fun.
Well, I love the fact that the music is still flowing and that it's flowing through a whole new generation. You've already seen a clip of her. I'm going to give a little compilation of our new star on the rise. But when I was thinking about your careers, and I'm thinking of Ava, I also think of Ava as a veteran entertainer herself, because she's been doing this quite some time. She came out of the womb performing practically.
That's right. Longer than Charlo and I, probably. More experience than we have.
Here's a little history of Ava, and then we'll bring her on and we'll continue this celebration. Here she is.
And then to make matters worse, I have another problem. I've always been shy. I confess it, I'm shy. Can't you guess that this confident air is a mask that I wear 'cause I'm shy? And you may be shy. Way down deep undemure. Though some people I know might deny it, at bottom I'm quiet and pure. I'm aware that it's wrong to be weak as I am. My chances may pass me by, I pretend to be strong. But as weak as I am, all I can do is try. God knows. Thunderclap, stop clapping, traffic seems to soar, and they tell us Niagara still. You stop the train with low whistles, steam whistles, cop whistles, all whistles sound to kill. So sing, Johnny, one note out loud. be feeling some free. They've been banished by the royal decree. And your head feels so good when you finally clear it. If I saw a worry, I wouldn't go near it. Come on now. Come on, kids. Let's hear it. Let's hear it for me. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Ava, I have two things
Wow.
to say. First of all, it's a shame that you can't sing. And it's, number two, and it's a shame that audiences just don't get you.
Oh my
First of all,
goodness.
congratulations. Congrats.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You know, and you, I mean, I mean, Rose was not kidding. What an amazing talent you have. And
Oh.
it's just beginning. You know, how do you feel about all that's happening with you right now?
I can't even believe it. I'm still like reeling over our New York show. And I mean, oh my gosh, there's so much. I'm so happy.
And when I think about scheduling and trying to get you on this show, we had a little trouble trying to get you on the show because you were dealing with planning a prom just a few weeks ago.
Yes.
How did that go?
It went really well. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, it was like one right after the other. And I was like, I can do it. I can get on.
Good. So with everything that's going on right now, you're obviously in the throes of doing cabaret. You've also recorded. We're going to give away your CD tonight.
Oh my
But,
goodness.
yes, but you do you have a certain area of this business that you are aspiring to that you would like to be a part of?
Broadway. Definitely Broadway. Yeah.
Uh,
But any performing is great. But Broadway is where my heart lies.
So here you are, you're working with two amazing talents. You share the stage with them, but as I say, they also share a stage with you. But they have been around the block a few times. Have you gotten any advice from them on where to go in this business? Or what is the greatest piece of advice that you've gotten from either of them? Or do you seek advice from either of them?
Ooh, I think honestly, the best thing that I've gotten is not from direct advice, but just being able to watch them and watch them perform and the presence that they have and how comfortable they are, like just being like themselves. Because cabaret, that's what it is. It's yourself. You're not playing a part. So being able to like just kind of like look over and be like, oh, there's Ulla, and like watch her do her thing, and then turn around and be like, oh my gosh, and Charlo's here too, and how they interact with the audience. I think you're both obviously so funny, and like your little like quips to the audience, I think is like just watching your mannerisms is really great takeaway.
Now, you also have something else that a lot of kids are not fortunate enough to have, and that's two supportive parents who are truly in your corner, 150,000%. So kudos to them for the support that they give you. From the very beginning, what are your earliest memories of the music that you were listening to? Obviously, there is an affinity to Barbra Streisand. Would you say that she is at the top of the food chain as far as your favorite singer, or is it Bette Midler, or who is your holy grail singer that you listen to in those quiet moments?
You know, I have to say Judy Garland. Barbara, Judy,
Wow.
Liza, that's like our holy trinity. Bette, absolutely, of course. A lot of that. On the other side, we had a lot of like Whitney Houston in this house, Diana Ross in this house, and then Wizard of Oz, so Judy musical scores. But that's our holy trinity has got to be Judy, Barbara, Liza.
Absolutely. And do you remember the first live concert that your dads took you to see?
Live Actually, sort of. I know that my first like live show that I ever went to see was Mary Poppins on Broadway. But I know concert wise was Barbara. We went to see Barbara Streisand, and the next day I performed on Jim Caruso's Cast Party. I was
Wow.
8.
And was that the first time that you were in a cabaret room?
Yes. Yeah, that's where it all started, was with Jim.
Wow. And had you gotten up and performed in front of an audience prior to that, or was that the first time that you were in front of an audience? What was that experience like the first time that you, Frank Langella in his book, he talks about that moment that he stepped in, as he put it, said, from the dark into the light. So do you remember the first time that you stepped from the dark into the light?
I was in my like elementary school shows when I was younger, and I loved it. And I think the first, I don't remember what show it was, but I think the best thing that I can think of is when with Jim on my first time on a cabaret stage. And I think that I was surprised at how comfortable it was, because like I said, I was 8 and I found out I was going to be performing maybe an hour before I stepped on stage. So I was surprised at how like at home I felt, and how I was just like, yeah, this is where I'm meant to be. Like there was no like stage fright. There was no nervousness. It was just like very at home, very easy, which is good.
Well, Jim, I mean, first of all, Jim Caruso, if you happen to be watching this, he does a phenomenal job with Cast Party. It's a very controlled atmosphere in terms of the comfort level of people coming into the situation like this. And, Cast Party, open mic types of situations can go either way. To me, the best types of open mics are when you go to also not only to entertain yourself, but to observe. And if you are observing the other entertainers and you're there to be entertained as well, it can be an incredible experience. So that evening, do you have memories of the other artists that were performing that night that you were experiencing for the first time as well?
I don't think that I remember a specific performance. I just remember sitting there in awe of absolutely every person on that stage.
And how long after that was it that you did your first cabaret show?
It was, we performed it when I was 10. So it took us about a year and a half to get it standing. And it was with my father.
Wow. And then how long was it before you and Charlo and Ulla started working together?
Well, Charlo and I, like she said earlier, we met when I was 14, and Ulla and I just started working together at the end. What was that? The end? It was in October. We met officially in person on my father's birthday. We went to Palm Springs and we had a rehearsal in Palm Springs. So we met for the first time in October. So it was, and I was 17. So it was a good 7 years between my first show and this last one.
Now, I think I read that, or I heard that in this particular show that they taught you how to be a Harlette.
Yeah. Yes.
How did that idea come about?
Well, I grew up with Bette. Here's Bette, by the way. This is a prop from our show. It was we decided to bring. This is Bette. My dad made it.
Unbelievable.
Yes, you've always had the power to be a Harlette, my dear.
Yeah, I mean, that's
really.
Help us. Will you help us?
I loved them. And I literally, I think I asked Charlo, I was like, can I be a Harlette? And she was like, yeah. And so my dad, we parodied a little bit off of The Wizard of Oz.
Of course.
A little bit.
A lot of it.
A lot.
Everything, all day.
Billy Burke.
And yeah, they had 3 questions that they asked me on stage, and I had to give the correct answer, and then we sang Optimistic Voices Lullaby of Broadway as our final initiation.
So fun.
And that goes all the way back to where it began. So I want to ask if Has Feinstein's asked you back?
Yes, they have.
And do you have a date? Do we have an exclusive tonight?
We do not have an exclusive date yet, but we are looking in September. So I will get back to you as soon as I know.
So we can announce that. And you are leaving on Thursday. You are going to London.
I am
will
going to
Wow.
Like London.
will this be your first time in London?
Yes, it will. I'm so excited.
Wow. Wow. Well, just like Barbara, she took London by storm. I know you're going to do the same. So those who see my show know that one of the things that I do in my show is I do an homage to James Lipton inside the Actors Studio. And he had his own questions. And I put together some random questions that I'm going to ask each of you. And this will give our viewers a chance to get a sense of you and your take on the business itself and everything. And I'll start with you, Charlo. And other than the review that just came out early this morning, what are you proud of outside of what we've talked about tonight over the last week that you've experienced?
Well, it's like that old cartoon theme of Bugs Bunny, where they said no more rehearsing and nursing apart. We know every part by heart. Overture, light the lights. This is it. We'll hit the heights. And what
heights we'll hit.
On with the show. This is it. And that pretty much sums it up for me because it was a lot to remember. It was like being in a Broadway show. It's like after you nurse and rehearse for 6 weeks, and then you go out of town and you put it on its feet, and you're nail biting, and you're going, oh my God, is it going to make it? These numbers going to make it. Am I going to remember anything that I have to say? So there was all of that. So it was kind of like doing a Broadway show or a review, where you had a lot to remember, and then it didn't really come together until we got up. I mean, in rehearsal, but when we got up on the stage, it was like, do or die. Here we go.
That's right.
So it was definitely a journey. And, I have to say, every single show I've ever been in, there's always been some kind of angst. But when you're a background singer, you learn your part, you do it, you're inserted in, you come in, you do what you do, boom, you leave.
That's right.
You have you don't have all the heavy lifting. But the three of us, we had some heavy lifting to do. And for me and Ulla, that's not unusual, because we did a lot of that for Miss M, and together when we had our group, me, Sharon, and Ulla. So this with Ava it's a new chapter, and it's a great chapter. I'm so proud. After I got through my self-flagellation, I've come to accept the beauty of everything that has taken place in our mutual admiration experience.
Oh, that's wonderful. And Ulla, my question for you is, how do you waste the biggest chunk of time each week?
Oh, waste?
Waste.
Like Netflix? That kind of waste?
Yes,
Binging?
that would count.
I think I just answered that question.
Is that it? And what's your guilty pleasure on Netflix?
Oh God.
Grace and Frankie.
Grace and Frankie.
Schitt's Creek.
Yeah.
I mean, I blew through that in no time during the pandemic.
Have you seen Julia on HBO Max?
No, I don't have
Stop watching.
HBO Max. No, I have not.
I love it. Love it, love it, love it.
But that's my guilty pleasure, planting myself in front of the boob tube.
Yeah.
Me too.
And look up, it's 5 o'clock in the morning. Still watch.
No, this is me. I never finish a movie because I'm like out of it in the middle of a movie at 10 o'clock.
It's my dad.
Me.
That's
I
my
confess.
parents. I'll fall asleep. Yeah. I can't make it through a movie. I'll want to watch it, and they'll be like, okay, good
I
night.
know you can't get through it. Yeah. I thought that was an age thing. I don't know. I thought
No, I absolutely do the same thing. Ava, one of the things that I really admire with you, and kudos to your dads, is that a lot of kids, if you don't mind my using that word, your age, don't have the reverence that I feel that you have for what's gone before.
That's right.
And I want to talk about the fact I was taught I had a great mentor when I was your age who said that every time I stepped on stage, I was carrying with me the mantle of every great artist that has gone before me. And I think about that every time I step before the camera, every time I step on stage. And I want you to address our audience who's watching tonight and what that reverence of what's gone before means to you.
Ooh. Wow, okay. I think that I have had in more ways than just my parents, in ways of Charlo and Ula, and in ways, by the way, of with Kate Loprest, who is our third member or fourth member, I'm so sorry, of our group, who is not here tonight. But in ways of all of them as mentors and as family, I think that the biggest thing is like inclusivity. It's how I'm trying to figure out how to word this. I think accepting people, regardless of their race, their gender, who they love, comes above all. And there's a segment in our show that we talk about at the end. And we say that there's a quote from Hairspray that speaks to a lot of people. And we say, as women, as the LGBTQ community, as people of color, and as humans. So I think I've had really amazing examples of love and respect from everyone, regardless of where they come from or who they are or what they look like. And I think that that's something that's very like near and dear to me, because that's something, if I take nothing away from anything else, I want to take the kindness that I have been shown onward.
That's beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Charlo, I have a calendar that I keep on my desk, and I pulled from my calendar today a passage. And it says, when I'm tempted to be hard on myself, I ask, what would I tell my best friend if they were in the same situation? Today's self-love action. Let me be my own best friend today. What loving guidance would I offer a dear friend if they were dealing with whatever I'm dealing with? And so when you have been in your worst or lowest situation, have you treated yourself the way that you would treat a best friend if they were in the same situation?
Well, I can say that just recently I was not feeling the greatest about my performance. Not overall, but just moments of my performance, because they were very raw for me. And my best friend was sitting in the audience, and she was a focal point for me and another friend of ours, me and Ulla's, our friend Lisa Passero. So Lisa Passero and Linda Rios were sitting in the audience, and it became an anchor for me in that moment and pulled me, it helped focus me and pull me out of this place that I found myself in the middle of drinking again. The song drinking.
Oh, okay. Yes.
And so that is a real life lesson I've learned, to be. Then when I poured my heart out to them, they both gave me such affirmation of my truth. And sometimes when you're doing cabaret, there's a line that gets crossed. It's not like you're doing a it's not like you're doing a Broadway play where you've got lines and you're playing a character, you're being you. Mm-hmm. So I think that these two people gave me a lot of feedback and a lot of love and acknowledgement that what I experienced was okay, and that I had the training, I had the skill set to not go down that rabbit hole. Did I answer the question?
You did. You did. You certainly did.
Sometimes.
Thank you. You did.
But
Ulla,
forgive yourself and trust, and then trust that you were in the moment and that you did what you needed to do.
But Charlo, being in the moment, particularly with that song, that's what made the audience connect to you, because, you know, we felt that.
Yeah.
And I was sitting in the back of the house being amazed by the both of you.
Wow.
And learning many lessons at watching you, and, you know, reverence to the both of you, because I don't know if I can do that, pour my heart out like that, but
that means so much to me for you to say that.
no, but it's true. It's a rawness and a realness, and people relate. Whoever in the audience is going through whatever, that's when you connect and you know, pull everybody in.
You know, it's so interesting because, particularly with Drinking Again, you and I sat there many, many nights with that song, and she was pretty tore up about it. Actually, she never.
Well, she was a master at emoting like that. She was a master.
No kidding.
You know, all of the songs, "Hello in There," all of those ballads. Oh my God, she went to a place, and that's what you did. You went to a place. I'm
moving out of that place. I don't want to go there unless.
No, you must.
Wow.
Thank you, though. Thank you for bringing that up.
It's true.
And thanks, Ulla. You know, we have to remember where we came from. Sometimes I forget.
No, we remember. We remember.
Thank you.
Ulla, what is the most painful thing that you feel that you've gone through in this business? And you don't need to name a specific. I'm asking for, again, those of us who go through difficult times, and what got you through that difficult time?
I think the fear that I had when I was a lot younger, which is kudos to Ava. I was watching her. She has no fear up there. Yeah. And she said she had no fear since the age of 8. Wow. You know, I mean, even now, I was very nervous going up there, but you know, something clicks in and it all clicks in and it works out. But my gosh, I think the fear, and I really wish I would get over that. And I think it's a thing with a lot of performers, but it's also a self-doubt thing, I guess. But yeah, it's the fear, and that's painful for me, because I know I can do so much better sometimes, you know, particularly when I was in plays with lines. And I'm not an actress. I guess I'm a singer who has acted before. A comedian. But that's very difficult for me, unless I'm doing a very comedic role, which I have done. But as myself, doing lines or giving a talk or emoting, that's painful for me, because it's difficult.
It's very hard.
It's nerves. It's fear.
There's a great story of Laurence Olivier that he was giving a performance, and after the performance, the audience just went absolutely crazy. And he walked off, and someone said, "That's the most amazing performance you've ever given." And he said, "I don't know what I did." And he didn't know the fear of how he was ever going to recreate that took over him on such a level that he developed intense stage fright after that.
I think I read about that.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's amazing, but and he kept doing it. I mean, I don't know, maybe he fed off of that fear. But.
Amazing. Another passage from my calendar for you, Ava. And it says, when I'm nervous about something like a work meeting or a confrontation with a loved one or stepping outside my comfort zone, I give myself a pep talk beforehand. Today's self-love action. Today, I'll ponder how I pep talk myself, remembering that I'm loved and you are loved, especially by me, no matter how things turn out. That unconditional love could make me feel more relaxed, which could make whatever I'm facing go more smoothly. Do you ever give yourself a pep talk before going on stage?
Maybe not before stage, but there are definitely times where I do need to give myself a little boost.
Okay. Charlo. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was gonna say I'm just trying to think of like instances, but yeah, I definitely, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, you know, while sitting there contemplating one's makeup beat,
I know.
As I try and to apply false eyelashes, I'm talking to myself, and I'm going when I'm going over my music by myself, and just one of the, it's like I sit with my notebook and I keep writing the words to the song down over and over in paragraphs, and then talking to myself about it. It's like a kind of a crazy woman. This is what's developed in these advanced years. So I'm talking to myself constantly. And
Well, I do the same thing.
It's like saying the rosary over and over. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners now and out of our death. It could be at any moment while I don't get these lashes on, while I can't remember anything. So yeah, prayer and constant self-talk is what's keeping me alive today.
Yeah. Well, when I was with Darlene Love, we always did the prayer circle before we went on, and that gives you a big boost, actually.
And a focus, definitely.
Yes.
Wow.
I think being with you guys was like a boost within itself. I remember sitting, so our dressing room is on the 10th floor, 54 below, and 54 below is the basement. And we have like our own little dressing room, and we were just sitting in there running lines. And I think that within itself is like a boost, because there's so much love in that room. And it was us, we had our band, we had Kate, we had my dad, and there was so much love in that like I don't know how I couldn't be like lifted up by that.
And we have silliness. We do.
You must have silliness. You have to have silliness.
That helps so much because we laugh hilariously. I mean, it really helps get a lot of nerves out. It does. At some point you have to walk away from the dressing table and go out there and do it. I remember when we were Harlettes, we would have to go into the Bette's dressing room, and she'd take a look at us, and she'd go, "You don't have enough makeup."
Oh yeah.
And there at her table and put on makeup, start singing girl group songs, and then she'd be getting dressed. But that was a thing that helped her relax and kind of brought us all, the three of us together. We'd be having drinks, smoking cigarettes, putting on more makeup until they're dragging us to the stage. This is what we live for.
But also I remember, and I'm sure she went through her nerves, but I remember all the lines taped up on her mirror, all of her segments, they were just all there. So know that she had to remember.
She had a lot of stuff to remember.
She had a lot.
You mean they weren't spontaneous?
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, it's not real. It's scripted.
No, but if she had come upon a line that she had done herself, it would stay in the show.
Mm-hmm.
If it got a great reaction, which it often. She was a master at improvising too, and
yes, and we often pushed her to let that she didn't want to go to, but when we would push her, she would be so extemporaneous, and of course we would just be collapsed in laughter. Yeah. I think she kind of lived for us our silliness, because it relaxed her and made her go into those realms.
Yes.
And those realms were magical.
Yes, and I think every young person, and Ava, you've probably seen footage of that, but I think I used to teach a class, a singing. It was called Contemporary Music Stylings in this theater camp, and I would bring a video of Bette doing "Hello" in there.
Yeah,
the John Prine song.
Yes,
and I said, "Learn. This is how it's done. This." Don't do your vocal runs and all that vocal calisthenics, which some young women do a la, what's her name? Anyway, the contemporary women. I said, this is from the heart.
That's right.
And what I was talking about, Charlo doing that, drinking again. You've got to connect with the audience and connect with whatever you're going through.
Yeah,
connect with that, whatever it is. You lost your dog, whatever sorrow as a young person you're feeling, connect with it.
Absolutely. That's the key right there.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Takes courage.
Yeah.
What have they got?
And it'll be real.
Courage. You said.
Yeah.
Ulla, in which part of this week did your time go the fastest and the slowest?
Oh, the slowest was when I'm in New Jersey now. I'm staying in my son's apartment. The weather was so horrible and cold and rainy.
I'm in Rockland County, so I'm very close to where you. We're in New Jersey.
I'm in Rutherford. I'm in near the Meadowlands. So, I was looking forward to getting out and going into the city. I couldn't. I was chilled to the bone. So that was my slow time. I was just sort of sitting around going, okay, when am I going to be able to go out and enjoy myself? Which eventually, the weather turned nice, but that was the slowest. The fastest? Is that what you said? The fastest?
Yes, fastest.
Lord, I think the whole show that we did, the rehearsals, the show, blink of an eye. It's you work for something and then, but that's what happens in all the shows. It's you look back and you go, oh my God, did that just happen already?
Wow.
And missing it already. Missing it.
In September, you'll be doing it
It
again.
went too fast.
It went too fast.
Didn't
Too
it?
fast.
Ava, I know you've been, well, like I said, I think of you as a veteran in this business already. But what is something about this business that you absolutely don't understand?
Ooh. That's a really good question. I don't know. Could you come back to me? I have to think about that
Back
one.
to you. I'm going to go to Charlo. Charlo, I'm going to ask you, what is something about this business that you absolutely don't understand?
I don't understand how you work. Okay, I'm going to use an example of someone that's near and dear to me and Ulla's heart. Our dear friend David Lastly, who passed away recently, he sang with James Taylor for 30 years as a background singer and incredible mover, shaker, background singer, writer, a composer on all these levels, and so beloved in our community.
Yeah.
The thing that's crazy to me is that every time you stop a job, it's like you start all over again. You go back to square one. It's like we keep going back to square one. It's like, you do a Broadway show for 3, 4, 5, 30 years. Think of the people who've done Les Mis, and then suddenly they leave the show. And then what do? Do you go to another show? This is why people go back to those shows. They keep running. So they go back and they keep working to be in the community, to be with each other. So it's like, we work so hard to get our go watch at the end of 30, 40 years, but we still want to keep performing. It's in our blood. It's like, we're not civilians. This is what we do. We entertain people. So that starting over every time is just crazy to me. And
Charlo, where are you, by the way?
I'm at home. Hold on a second. Hey, Steve. My son is recording in the other room.
That's
I'm
okay.
in my bedroom. I'm
Where is home for you?
What do I do?
Where is home for you?
I'm in Los Angeles.
Okay, because I want to give you the biggest hug because of what you just said, because I feel that every single day I am starting over.
Yeah.
With everything that I've done, I feel like every single day I am starting over. I've done over, believe it or not, I've done over 500 of these shows.
Wow.
And with all of these shows that I've done, there's still the publicist who will say, send us a list of who you've interviewed. Yes.
Yeah.
That's insane.
I know. And it's like, just look at my opening credits.
And, they get so put out when you say, Google me. And then they Google you and they see your long list. They see, and I say it all the time and people get attitude with me. It's like, well, you want to know what I'm doing or what I've done. Look.
And I thought I was the only one who said that.
No, all the time. People say to me, oh, well, what are you and Ulla doing? I said, well, you need to Google Ulla. Ulla's doing stuff. People they're so smug.
I love it because I say the same thing. Google me.
Yes, right.
I'm going to ask you the same question. What is the one thing about this business that you absolutely don't understand?
Well, I come from sort of a record company perspective, I guess, the rock stuff, and living in Nashville now, which I've lived in for the past 5 years. I see young people do these writer rounds, and they're struggling. And you know, I think it's frustrating because there's so many really talented people that ought to be, you know, up here. They may never, and people may never hear about them. And the record industry has changed so much. Before, the record companies would promote your product. Now the artist has to promote the product. They've got to hand over like a complete product. They've got to do their PR. It's a whole different animal now than when Charlo and I recorded.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's frustrating for me to watch. And also with Spotify and all the platforms, the residuals that people make on songwriting is horrible nowadays.
It is so tough.
So it's very tough to make a living at this. You've got these young people are touring. They're doing all the festivals. They're doing all the little towns. They're on their own basically. And some hire publicists, but some can't afford it.
That's right.
They can't afford it. So, and they're plugging away, and you know they love what they do because they're songwriters, singer-songwriters, and they're musicians. But it's just so tough for young people these days, and that breaks my heart.
Absolutely.
And you know the thing too, Ulla, and I agree with you 100%, is that I think that when we were coming up as young girls, young women in the theater, and being a part of a experimental theater movement, and kind of being in that Tom O'Horgan bubble,
right? The hair,
yes.
We really it was different than just the legitimate theater musical play that we knew, heretofore.
Right.
We were part of a revolution in theater,
right? Yeah, we were plucked. Literally, we were just. I mean, we were. Teenagers in high school going to audition for this rock musical coming into town. No theater experience whatsoever.
I had community theater.
Well, I didn't. Well, I had a little bit, but but most of those kids were just raw, and many of them went on to be, Diane Keaton and Joe Mantegna and Andre DeShields. Well, Andre, I think they were from the theater before that, but
they had and they were all older than us when you think about it.
Not by much.
University, got a degree,
yes,
and that was
that's right.
Trajectory is to go to college, you go to Northwestern, in Illinois, and get a good theater degree. Go to New York.
We were clear out of high school. That's what we were.
So you had us. You had the academics, and you had people who had already done legitimate theater.
Right.
It
was a mixture, sure.
Right. All the traditional musicals, the Music Mans, all the Rodgers and Hammerstein, and done all the traditional standard theater, musical theater fare. And so they were very straight. So here we all were, teenagers thrust into this experimental theater thing that totally transformed.
But that was typecasting. Totally, it was typecasting.
Yeah, it was.
Ava, still want to do it?
Yeah, so I was yes.
Sorry.
Broadway adjacent.
I was listening to what they were saying, and I think this could be very, very specific to like the Broadway scene, but I think when you audition for things, you have no idea like what they're looking for. And
can I say something, Ava? Sometimes they don't know what they're looking for.
They never know.
Right. Exactly. So on both ends, sometimes you have no idea what you're looking for. And I feel like as an actor, like my first instinct is to be like, okay, like this is set in this time, in this place, so I should look this way, or I should sound this way, or I should be this way. When 9 times out of 10, that's probably not what they want. And so I think I don't know, it's hand in hand. Part I don't understand, and part it's difficult to get around. Like that situation of like auditioning as yourself, but like avoiding being like not true to yourself, but also like trying to fit into like what you're auditioning for.
In my closing remarks, I'm going to talk about that tonight.
Great.
So yes, we're going to give away your CD. So
God.
we're going to give it away to don't go anywhere. We're going to give this away to a lucky winner.
Oh my God.
So we'll see who the winner is tonight. And it's Tasha Lombardi. Tasha, make sure that you send me a private email after the show, richard@richardskipper.com. And I want to say a few words. And each of you are going to get a chance to give your final words based on what we talked about tonight. I'm going to take this off, and I'm going to say what I'd like to say. And then I'm going to turn it over to you, Charlo, and then you can pick who will follow you. And then that person will pick the final person. And then when you finish saying your final words, don't worry about how to end the show. As soon as you say goodbye, the final credits will start to roll. I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. I've had a great time. If all of you have had as much fun as I have, then my job is complete. The word again is patience. And if there's one thing that I've learned, and I'm still learning in this crazy business, is that patience is something that you have to think about on a daily basis. And as patient as you are, the other people around you are not necessarily going to be as patient as you are. And everyone is impatient and everybody wants something. Ava, the thing that I'd like to say to you is when I look at the Judy Garland's, when Judy Garland arrived at MGM, they didn't know what to do with her. They were trying to mold her into something that MGM was used to having at that time. And it took them a little while until The Wizard of Oz came along before they even knew what to do with her. Barbra Streisand was unique into who she was. I wonder if a Carol Channing would survive in today's world of musical theater. Beanie Feldstein in Funny Girl on Broadway right now, everyone's trying to mold her into something she isn't. Let her be Beanie Feldstein playing this role. When you walk into an audition and people are saying you should be this or you should be this, a lot of people may not know this, but The Graduate was written with Robert Redford in mind. Mike Nichols wanted Robert Redford and Doris Day for those two roles. Very different from what we ended up getting, but at least he had the foresight to say, maybe we can go a different path with this. And I think that everybody has to hold on to your individuality. And you have to be able to go in and say, this is who I am. Bette Midler is a perfect example of that. She went in being who she was, and she was her authentic self, and she created the Divine Miss M. And when she wasn't able to get those roles, she created a whole act built around what she wanted to give the audiences. You're doing the same thing. Keep doing what you're doing. That's the advice for everybody who's watching. Bring to the table what you are able to bring to the table, and hope that the audiences, the people that are interested, are going to show up. There's a great story that I will leave everyone with before I sign off. There was a great musical years ago called Jubilee, and Tammy Grimes and Larry Kert were in the show. Mm-hmm. And Tammy Grimes had gotten bored with doing the show. And so one night, Larry Kert went up to Tammy Grimes and he said, "You're not going to believe who's in the audience tonight." And she said, Who? And he said, "I'll tell you later." So every time she would get near him, she would go, "Who's in the audience? Who's going in the audience?" He said, "I can't tell you." So every time she would walk out on the stage, she would take a look out into the audience and she would say, "Who's in the audience? Who's in the audience?" So at the end of the evening, as they're taking their bows, she's looking into the audience, trying to figure out who's in the audience. And when the curtain came down, she said, "Who's in the audience?" He said, "People who paid to see you." Don't ever forget that.
Right.
And she said it was the greatest advice that was ever given to her. The people that are here tonight are here because they want to be with us. That's what we hold on to. And for that, I am grateful. So thank you all for being here tonight.
Thank
If
you.
you enjoyed tonight's show, I hope that this will not be your last time. Please consider subscribing to Richard Skipper Celebrates. My show is about celebrating artists and their body of worth. Leave a comment on YouTube after the show. Share this with your friends. Check out Charlo and Ulla and Ava wherever they are. Go to London and see a show with Ava. And meet me and everyone else at Feinstein's 54 Below in September. We'll be there cheering you all on. I can't wait. And I also end every show by telling everyone to go out and do something nice for somebody else without expecting anything in return. Go to your Facebook friends list. I would like all of you to do the same thing. Go to your Facebook friends list and reach out to the third name that pops up, and reach out with a phone call. Not an email message, not a text message, not a private inbox message, but a phone call. And let that person know what they mean to you. You never know what someone else is going through right now. And as a dear friend of mine, Sean Monitor, says, we're all in this together, but we're not in the same boat. And I always say, if you're going to go out in a boat, make sure you bring a skipper along. So I'm going to leave the screen, and Charlo, you've got the next final word. Anything you want to say about anything that we talked about tonight that you want to build upon? Anything that we didn't talk about that you wish that we had, or just any final message you want to get to everyone who's watching right now? Thank you all, and I will hopefully see you tomorrow night at 7 o'clock with Lorna Dallas. We'll be here tomorrow night. See you all later. Thank you.
Everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you, Richard. This was fantastic. I just want to say, keep going. Don't stop. Love what you do. Take good care of yourself. Be your authentic self. And if you don't know how to do that, just pray and ask God to show it to you, and He will. You are loved. God bless you. Mwah. Mwah. I'm running out of power. I'm going to close.
Okay.
Love
I
you.
want to, and I want to say my last word is to Ava. I was in the audience as a spectator, apart from being in the show, and I am in awe of you, my girl. And what I said before, it's the journey, not the destination. It's the journey. Be your authentic self. I mean, I see you're well on your way, and that's all I have to say. Sending love, and you're going to be a star, my girl.
Thank you.
And good night, everybody. Thank you, Richard.
Aw. Earlier I was asked about a pep talk, and I was like, okay, what do I say at the end? And I think that I knew someone who was very close to me, and every morning when I woke up, he would tell me, you are loved, you are enough, and you are worthy. Every day he would tell me that. And that's something that, you should tell other people, but you need to tell yourself. It's something that you need to know. And so when I give my pep talks for whatever it is, those are the three things that I say is you are loved, you are enough, and you are worthy. And I wanted to leave everyone off with that whoever's watching now, whoever is watching later, you are loved, you are enough, and you are worthy. Thank you, everybody, for coming.